To some more news now, and the government representatives from ministries of labor from across the African Union are currently in the country to create a roadmap that will ensure the right of African migrant workers to sell their labor anywhere across the continent without bias or prejudice. The two-day symposium is also set to establish the tenets that will safeguard the rights of the migrant workers along the member states. Well, Julia Wino is attending that event and has more for us.
So basically what we are having here today is that we have all the member states of the African Union gathered at Crown Plaza from the beginning of this day to the 12th of this month, where they're addressing the issues of the free labor movement across the African states. And this is one of the agendas they're going to address in this seminar. And they also hope to also encourage Africans that this is going to be something that will promote wealth creation amongst the member states, job creation opportunities, and also learning opportunities for the young people. And right about now, I am joined by Tony Elumelu. Tony is one of the people from the ECOWAS community who's going to give us an insight of one of the few things that we need to expect out of this seminar. Thank you so much, Tony, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Tony, would you please tell us where you come from, what exactly you do in ECOWAS, and why at this particular time are we pushing for this agenda of free labor movement?
I'm Tony Elumelu from the ECOWAS Commission. I'm the head of the Division for Free Movement and Migration at the ECOWAS Commission. You know that the ECOWAS text, that otherwise called the Lagos Treaty of 1975, when it was established, one of the flagship protocols, the free movement of persons, goods, services, and capital. And the core elements in it is the right of entry, residence, and establishment. And it came with the abolition of visas for members in territories of member states for community citizens. And from the benefits so far enjoyed from the ECOWAS, which I believe that is being replicated at the continental level, you find it's in numbers and in terms of skill mobility, labor mobility. I think we need to harmonize process at the continental level so that we can have people moving freely. I'm not talking about visa on arrival, I'm talking about free movement regime so that we can move freely within our region, exchange skills, because the door shall be shut. Otherwise, we need to move in regionally so that we can, it will foster development in our region. And this is exactly what we are here, an expectation.
Okay. Tony, one of the key things that has been addressed is the access of visa on time. How do you guys want to make sure that this is actually implemented, that once a laborer wants to move to another country for their trade reasons or for their job reasons, how is this going to be effected immediately, that they will not face this as a challenge anymore?
The greater vision is the removal of visa requirement for migrants of African extraction. So that's the ambition. And I believe that if it's been done in ECOWAS, and there are member states also that have, beyond ECOWAS, visa abolition agreement, like I can tell you, Senegal, Morocco, Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon. But we can try as much as possible to try with the REX. Start with the REX, have a total package of visa abolition agreement. Because we talk about visa on arrival is another aspect. So we need a regime that will totally comply to visa while we put in the necessary checks by making sure that the necessary travel documents that will be upgraded from the handwritten to the biometric also comply with by member states. So I believe that if we have that one, under the right of residence also, then you know, an establishment, that is where you now talk about skill mobility, ease of doing business, non-discrimination, which is the principle in ECOWAS. You don't discriminate amongst member states.
Thank you so much. It was quite a pleasure to have you. We're looking forward to have you more. And on my other end, I have Jeffrey. Jeffrey, said it in the right way? Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeffrey. Please tell us your name and what exactly you do.
My name is Jeffrey Labovitz. I'm the Regional Director for the International Organization for Migration in East and the Horn of Africa.
Jeffrey, I'd like you to tell us how you guys plan to monitor. One of the key challenges that you have talked about is the fact that some people might end up exploiting this free labor movement once it's officially effected, and one of them is human trafficking. So what are the kind of policies or measures you're going to put across to ensure that people are not going to misuse this?
You know, you just interviewed Tony, my friend from ECOWAS, and we met about a year and a half ago in Niger, and we were looking at the transit route of labor migrations on their way to Libya. And we were looking at exploitation issues and issues of protection for people on their journeys. And I think one of the major topics of conversation at this conference is to looking at legal labor opportunities and compacts between states so we can offer protection. If we can offer safe routes for people to travel, and if they have opportunities to have to work abroad, then we're going to cut out a lot of the middlemen and the exploitation and the trafficking. But the key is to have agreements between states, and they have to come together and say, yes, we want to do this, we want to protect workers, and we recognize that we need those workers in our countries for various sectors where we have gaps.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. And on to my last question. I would also like to find out, how soon are we going to have this implemented?
There's been a lot of progress on free movement of people. That's one part. That's people being able to go from one country to another without a whole bunch of restrictions. And then another part is mutual labor agreements. And it's a long process. It's going to take some time. But the first thing is going to be that countries individually recognize that we need each other and people move. There's hundreds of thousands of people working cross borders in various ways. And bringing the governments together here, there's 65 different governments represented, is a big step in recognition of the need. And then we have to get them together to start writing and negotiating.
My last question. How are you going to encourage the laborers who are probably watching this and hopeful and looking forward to have this happen? What is that one message you have for them?
When you're going abroad, educate yourself and know what the requirements are for travel. Let people know where you're going and why. And if possible, look for legal recourse and legal ways for moving.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. As you've heard, this is quite a deep interaction, and we are hoping that as they continue planning for this and hoping that soon you're going to have changes, this is going to happen soon. And Kenyans and all over the African states, we are going to have the free labor movement that will also increase and promote better relations between the African states and also improve the economy of the country. Back to you in studio.